tomorrow, 5th grade. Happy Wednesday. Oh my goodness. Happy Monday. So welcome to week number 20. It's crazy to think that week 20, here we are. It's not quite February yet. We're getting pretty close. And what we're going to be doing the first week of February is we're going to be writing an essay on an influential person, somebody that you find maybe inspirational, somebody that you think is very strong, just somebody who's really cool in Black history. All right, February is Black History Month, where we talk about Black Americans in our country that have led to a lot of really great things, how they have really fought for where we are as a country. Okay, so today what I wanted to do is I wanted to start by talking about Black History Month. Why did we do this? Why are we even doing this as a thing? Just kind of get us started. If you see here on our agenda for this week, today we'll talk about the origins of Black History Month. Tomorrow what we'll talk about is why do we celebrate Black History Month in February. Okay. Wednesday will be what are some ways you can celebrate Black History Month at home. And then Thursday, who are some influential Black Americans from our history. And then on Thursday, what you are going to do is we're going to do some research on some of these people, and you are going to pick one that you will start your essay on next week. Okay? It won't be a huge essay. It'll be something that we do a little bit of research on, learn some things, celebrate together, and we'll probably move on from there. Okay? But it is a very important thing, and today I wanted to start by talking about the origins. Okay? So the origin. So you should be on this slide here because you're watching this video. So what we need to do first is we need to decide what does origins mean. All right, so if we go up here to this top slide, the title slide here, we will start by defining the word origins. Okay, so the origins of Black History Month. The point when something began. Okay, so the origin of Black History Month means when it began, the point when this began. Okay, I did add a picture here to kind of give you an idea of some very influential Black Americans. Some of these you may recognize. Now, this does not always have to be people from the past, right? So we see some here like Harriet Tubman. Maybe you've heard of her. Maybe you've heard of Malcolm X or Martin Luther King Jr. or Rosa Parks. But there's some that are still alive today. Colin Kaepernick, Serena Williams, Solange Knowles, Denzel Washington, still alive today. Obviously, so is Barack Obama. Simone Biles is younger than Mr. Lund. So, yes, we're talking about history, but we can still be talking about influential Black Americans today, too. All right? They're still doing great things and changing the way that we live. So, that is origin. So we're going to talk about the point of the Black History Month beginning. All right. So why was this event created? Why was this even a thing that started? Okay. So first, it actually started as only a week. Okay. Started as a week. You can see Mr. Lund forgot a quote there. There's one. Needed two. Oops. All right. So, person who started this week, his name was Carter G. Woodson. Okay, Carter G. Woodson, and it was called Negro History Week, and that was started in 1926. Okay, now we don't use the word Negro anymore. That's something that they used to say a long time ago. Now we would say either African American or Black. But that's what it was called in 1926. Carter G. Woodson, this is him here, in 1926. He was somebody who was very famous in the African American community. He was somebody who was a very good historian. He was an author. He wrote a lot of books, wrote a lot of journals. He founded a couple very important groups, and he talked a little bit about the African diaspora, which is kind of a cool thing. We'll talk about the African diaspora here in just a little bit. The idea of this week, he really wanted to make sure that what was happening was they were telling Black history to Black history in America, in the United States, talking about, I guess not just the United States, but also Canada, also in the Caribbean. There's still Black people in the Caribbean. But really what he really wanted to do was to avoid becoming lost to history like Native Americans. Okay, we talked a little bit about how sad the Native American story is in our country. Carter G. Woodson did not want to lose the history of their group, of their people, just like the Native Americans had. All right, there's a lot of history that was lost because a lot of it was not written down, and it did not get passed down to the next generations. And he did not want that to happen to African Americans in our country. Okay, so that was kind of the reason why he decided to start this week. It's 1926. Then it was adopted as a whole month in, I think, 1969 at college in Ohio. But it really was not a whole big thing in the country until President Ford, Gerald Ford, he recognized, he said, you know what we are going to do as a country? We're going to turn it into Black History Month. And that was the year 1976. And so if you do some quick math, the day that Carter G. Woodson decided that he was going to make a Negro History Week, it took exactly 50 years for the president to say, okay, let's make it into a Black History Month. We'll actually celebrate it. We'll do some things. There'll be, things that we can talk about as a country, and, some bad things like slavery, some good things like, strong Americans like this who kind of changed the course of our history. But 1976 is when Black History Month was founded. Okay. Now, today, the purpose, obviously, we're not talking about, African Americans being lost to history because, the history is there, and we've been able to study it. We learn a lot about it. So really the whole idea is to celebrate and learn a little bit about the African diaspora. It's kind of an interesting word. We're going to give it a definition here in just a minute. Okay. Also the history, the traditions of Black Americans. All right, I don't know why it says "and" of Black Americans, but yes. So to celebrate African diaspora, talk about it, study it. Also African American history, Black traditions. It's kind of what we use it for now. Okay, I got to make a new box here. Okay, so we talked about this. We just said this thing, diaspora. It's a word. It's a word that means to leave your homeland. Okay, so that's what diaspora means. So there's a couple different kinds of diaspora you can think of. Okay, one would be like for my family, like I believe my grandma, her mom and dad, they actually left their homeland of Ireland and moved to Philadelphia in the United States back in the 1800s. But that was big. That was very scary for them to leave their homeland. The thing about them was they were able to choose. Okay, they decided they wanted to leave Ireland and go somewhere else. Some people, like back in the 16 and 1700s, a lot of Black people from Africa, they were taken against their will as slaves. Okay, and that is a diaspora. They left their homeland, but it wasn't by choice. Okay, so we talk about the African diaspora around the world. All right, we talk about African Americans, but there are also like there are Black Canadians. There are people that are in Brazil, in Colombia, and they're Black. But the diaspora means that they went all over the world. Okay, sometimes by choice, but more often than not by force. Okay, so that's what diaspora means. Okay, so this sounds amazing, right? What an amazing thing that we get to do in our country is that we get to talk about, this really important history of this very important group of people in our country that have done so many great things for our country. What a great thing, right? Amazing. However, there are some criticisms of Black History Month. Okay, so first, let's see if we can define the word criticism. So criticism means to not approve of something or dislike it. Okay. So if I have criticism about the way the government has handled coronavirus, that means I do not approve of the way the government has handled of the coronavirus, or I dislike the way that the government has handled the coronavirus. They could do a better job. Okay. There are some people that do not approve of Black History Month. There are some people that do not like Black History Month. Now, the reason why is not because they think it's a bad thing, but they think many people believe that only 1 month is not enough. All right, so we're talking about Black History just in February. Okay, so Black History Month is in February. And a lot of people believe that 1 month is not enough. All right, there's so much history, so much rich stories and traditions and culture that we only get to squeeze in 1 month. That's not fair. All right, and that they also say that Black history, when we're talking about Black history, it's not something that we should just think, oh yeah, February. When we talk about Black history, we should be talking about American history. Okay, it's part of American history. So when you take American history like we're taking American history now a little bit, we're learning about the 13 colonies, we're going to start talking about those colonies starting to fight back against England. The Black history part of that story should already be inside of American history because they are Americans, right? So a lot of people are saying we should not just spend 1 month on this. We should be teaching it every day in history class. Okay, so that is the criticism of Black History Month. All right, now we will continue to talk about a lot of the stories and cultures and things and the people, but that is something to think about when we start talking about this. Is that can we do more? Can we do better? And I will say that after this month, we will still talk about a lot of very important Black stories in the making of our country. Okay, so these are the origins of Black History Month. Today we just took some notes. Like I said, what we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to look a little bit more into why do we celebrate Black History Month in February. Okay, kind of cool. There's some interesting history there. Wednesday, what are some ways that we can celebrate Black History Month at home? Because whether you like it or not, February, we will not be in school. We'll still be in distance learning, so we're going to talk about some things that you can do to celebrate Black History Month at home. And then Thursday, like I said, we're going to start talking about some very influential Black Americans from our history, and we're going to pick one of them, and then we're going to start kind of piecing together an essay next week about that person. All right, so I'm excited to do this part this month of the year. It's very important for me. I know the students really enjoy it. It is something that, it's a really cool thing that is fun, but it's also very interesting and you learn a lot, which makes school super fun. Okay, so if you have any questions on this today, anything that you just want to discuss, you can bring it up in the Google Meet if you'd like, or I can see you at office hours at 10:05. All right, hope to hear from you soon, and I will see you at our Google Meets today at 9:15 and 12:15.